Oh, yes, the Faculty All-Star basketball game between Dixon's Dropouts and Kaufman's Cougars, originally scheduled for this afternoon, will be postponed for a week due to the flu bug, which has stricken 2 of the Cougars' starting 5. What's the matter?
Not next week.
Why not?
They'll be decorating the gym for the dance.
So we'll have an enchanted basketball game.
All right.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss McIntyre.
Good morning.
Hello.
You wanted to see me?
Oh, yes. Your team has been spared a thrashing for a week. My best rebounder has been felled by the flu bug.
Who, Miss Trepke?
No. Oh, do me a favor, will you? You finish these. I'm making you the temporary interim editor. Try to give them the same sense of bounce and verb that I would.
I'll certainly try, Mr. Kaufman.
Now, what I want to talk to you about. Can you give me a hint?
I don't have the slightest idea.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There's a young man will be visiting your first period class today to talk to the students about the Peace Corps.
I had a test scheduled, but I guess I can postpone it until tomorrow.
I am sure the students will survive their disappointment at not having it today.
Who is this guy from the Peace Corps? What's his name?
Kaufman, Martin Kaufman.
Your son?
He's back from 1.5 years in Uganda.
Why didn't you tell me you were expecting him?
I wasn't. He just showed up on the doorstep last night. He's got a week's leave, so he talked himself into a couple of military flights to see his girlfriend in New York.
How long is he going to be here?
Only until tonight. But I figure I'm lucky to have him that long. If I had a girl waiting for me for 1.5 years in New York, I don't know that I'd be here.
So how is he?
Oh, great, sensitive, noble, intelligent. You know, Martin.
Only by the letters you've shown me.
Oh, yeah, he writes great letters. Sometimes I think we communicate better by writing than by talking. Maybe we ought to pass notes back and forth.
Well, look, where is he? I'd like to meet him.
He's visiting Mrs. Banducci. He was always her favorite pupil, even though I'm not her favorite principal. Come on. Oh, here he is now.
Hi, Dad. Sorry that took so long. Mrs. Banducci wanted to know everything I've been doing for the past 2 years in detail.
Doesn't she have enough problems? Pete Dixon, my son Martin.
How do you do?
Martin, I heard a lot of good things about you.
Oh, you must have been talking with Mrs. Banducci.
Listen, I hear you're leaving tonight. Too bad you can't be with us longer.
Shush, don't talk him into anything. He's eating me out of house and home. Besides, his girl's waiting for him in New York.
This is the first period. I've got to get to class. Would you like to come along with me?
Yeah, see you later, Dad?
Hi, Mr. Kaufman. Good to be back.
Back? Back from where?
Oh, I've been out 3 days with the 6-day flu.
How did you manage that, Miss Johnson?
Well, I didn't want to miss any practice teaching, so I came to school the first 3 days I was sick.
Miss Johnson, I realize you don't want to miss anything, but please don't come to school when you're sick. We don't want other people catching your viruses.
Mr. Kaufman, as of this morning, there are 11 teachers out with this bug that's going around.
11?
Oh, Mr. Kaufman, I'm so sorry.
It's not just in this school, Miss Johnson. It's all over the city.
We have a guest with us today, a member of the Peace Corps who's just returned from a year and a half in Uganda. So the test will be postponed until tomorrow. Welcome back, Miss Johnson. We missed you.
Thank you.
Our guest is here to talk to us today about the Peace Corps, what it means to him and could possibly mean to you. I think you'll find what he has to say very interesting. And to add to that interest, you'll find a few questions about the Peace Corps and Uganda on the test. Like, where is it? Jason.
I thought you said the test ain't till tomorrow.
Al,
Somewhere in Africa.
Central Africa.
you gotta give me more than that. Anybody. All right, Richie.
Uganda is west of Kenya, south of the Sudan, east of the Congo, and north of, anyway, Tanzania's in there too. Nothing wrong with knowing.
Let's welcome our speaker, Martin Kaufman.
Well, as they'd say in the official language of Uganda, it's nice to be here. Now, that's because in Uganda the official language is English, although there is strong sentiment, especially among the younger people, to make Lugandese the official language, which makes sense because, of course, in Uganda, English is a foreign language.
Okay, I'll tell him.
I'm on my way to Dixon's class to hear my son.
That was the nurse. She had to send Mr. Curtis home with a temperature of 103. You'll have to find somebody to cover Chemistry 1 next period.
Oh, boy. Who's got a free second period?
Mrs. Frankel. No, she's been home with the flu since last Thursday. Mr. Josephson.
Josie's a good man and he's a wonderful swimming teacher, but I don't think he's the perfect person to teach Chem 1.
Who then?
Mr. Kaufman, I wonder if I could have a few minutes of your time. Willie Anderson was supposed to bring his mother in for a counseling session this
Miss
morning.
McIntyre. Miss McIntyre. I would love to talk to you, but you don't have time. You have some very fast cramming to do.
Sir?
Mr. Curtis just went home with the flu, and you're taking his second period chemistry class.
Me?
Yes.
Chemistry?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Kaufman, I haven't touched a chemistry book since I was a sophomore in college.
Don't worry about it. You'll be wonderful. Oh, just remember not to put nitric acid and glycerin together.
What does that make?
They're very loud.
If you know what you want out of life, fine. Go do it. More power to you. But if you feel a little uneasy about where you're going, about where the world is going, then I can't think of a better way of getting on the track than in the Peace Corps. And you meet a lot of groovy chicks. All right, anybody want to ask me some questions?
I'll ask the first question. How old do you have to be to join?
I think you'd qualify, Mr. Dixon. Now, actually, the minimum age is 18, and the average is about 23. But anybody under 20 or so would really have to have a special skill in order to be accepted very easily.
That would let me out.
Miss Johnson,
What did you do before you joined?
I taught school for a year, a class like this.
No wonder you wanted to go to Africa.
Hey, Mr. Kaufman, can you go into the Peace Corps instead of the Army?
No, I'm afraid the best you can hope for is a deferment. Jason.
Do you have any black people in your Peace Corps?
Yes, we do. But we'd like to have a great many more. Yes?
Mr. Kaufman, are you any relation to Mr. Kaufman?
Yes, distantly. He's my father.
Say, what was the picture?
50 more to go, and we're officially an epidemic.
Have you called some of the teachers that were out today to find out if they're coming back tomorrow?
Oh, 1 or 2. But if things keep going this way, 3 or 4 more will call in sick in the morning.
Thanks for making my day.
You're welcome. Sir, this is my first epidemic.
See where we are now. Well, there's no one to take Mr. Jaffe's fifth period class.
How about me?
You?
Why not? I'm a qualified teacher.
You're going to New York tomorrow.
I'll go later.
What about your girlfriend? She'd never forgive you, or me.
I'll telephone. She'll understand.
Oh, Martin. After 2 years in Africa, you want to spend your vacation in a jungle.
Dad, I'd like to help you out.
Suppose the epidemic lasts through your whole vacation. What then?
Then you'd need me more than ever.
Martin, thank you very much, but some other time. When we need somebody to teach Lugandese, maybe. Hello, Bonnie. Yeah. Now, look, get me the substitute board again.
Dad!
Now, please, Martin, go to New York. Have a good time. Hello, Bonnie. Oh, Fred. Yeah, Fred, this is Kaufman again. Look, what did we do during that Asian flu epidemic in '57? Well, whatever we did, let's do it again.
Yes, Mr. Kaufman?
I'm taking Mr. Jaffe's fifth period class. Where is it?
Room 314. Thank goodness. I didn't think we'd find anybody in time. I don't know what we'd have done without you.
That's what my father always says.
I hear you staying on to help out. True act of heroism.
Or masochism. My father says anybody who'd stay here and teach instead of going to New York to see his girlfriend is in desperate need of psychiatric care. He may be right.
Well, he's that way, you know.
Yeah, I know. If I won the Nobel Peace Prize, he'd send me a funny telegram.
He treats everybody that way.
I'm not everybody. Emotional security isn't everything.
Right. Did you see him when he got here yesterday? Why Good morning, Pete.
Oh, hi, Liz.
Hi.
Hi.
What do you think our chances are of making it through another day?
Oh, about the same as making it through yesterday.
Well, I'm not that optimistic.
Who's optimistic? I still don't think we'll make it through yesterday.
All right, over here, everyone. Now, I was up most of the night, several hours this morning, working this thing out so that whoever owns that, excuse me, so that every class is covered and every teacher is accounted for, excuse me. Now, I'm afraid you're all going to have to give up your free periods in order to make this thing work.
Did you do this?
Yes, I did.
You print beautifully.
All right. Now, please, check the schedule very carefully. Make sure everybody knows exactly where they're supposed to be and when. And if anybody's even dreaming about getting sick today, I have just one word of caution. Don't get sick tomorrow, not today. We can't afford it.
Mr. Kaufman. That was Mrs. Vaughn. She didn't hear you. She got sick today.
Oh. Oh.
Hey, well, wait a minute, Mr. Kaufman. I think we can work this out without Mrs. Vaughn. I'll take your first period bookkeeping class if you can take our shorthand class.
No. Well, what about Mrs. Vaughn's free period? I've got her down to take Miss Dunstan's home planning and management class.
Wait a minute. I can take that if somebody can take my fourth period basic math. No.
You're on.
Oh, I love
Somebody will take mechanical drawing for me.
I got class.
Okay.
Where?
Give me class.
If you can take my public speaking, then I'll take his mechanical job.
What's
I have to talk to you about that.
Where?
I've got a class. What? You give me class.
That class she's taking, it's not room 4.
What period?
Okay, I think that does it.
He just came
We've got everything covered. Hey, everybody check this list before you go to make sure you know what you've got.
Okay.
Got it.
All
Okay.
right, tell me.
Where's mine?
I have mine. No, it's in the auditorium. Right. And they're all...
Hey, wait a minute. Somebody's made a mistake. They got me down for... I know it's been a lot of laughs, but it's a well-established fact that the best cooks in the world have been men. Now, you may not believe this, but there's one thing that I can do in the kitchen better than anybody else in the world. Who's gonna drive?
Now, I want you to dance what you feel.
Let your body movements interpret the music. You can do it. Feel it. Feel it. Oh, come on, don't be shy. You can do it.
J'aime les vacances.
Tu aimes les vacances.
Tu aimes les vacances.
Il aime les vacances.
Will someone please tell me what the lesson for today is supposed to be?
Mr. Graham was going to show us how to dissect a frog. Want me to get it out of the jar for you, Miss Kaufman?
That won't be necessary. I've decided we're going to have a review today. Now then. Pollination in flowers. Seed development occurs after flowering only if the pollen... Seed... Excuse me a moment.
Well, how'd it go today?
Whew, I'm exhausted, but otherwise not too bad. A couple of boys in 5th period art tried to convince me to use nude models.
What you need to do is relax and have some fun. How about dinner tonight?
I'd love to.
Good, I'll be at your place at 7.
Okay.
Oh. What are you fixing?
Well, friends, I don't know how we made it, but we did make it today. Of course, if we lose one more teacher before tomorrow, I will shoot myself. You may consider that a pep talk. Seriously, you've all done a wonderful job, and I thank you. And my mother thanks you, and my father thanks you, and the school board thanks you. And I don't know why you're all standing around here, because it's all right to go home. Goodbye.
Oh, hello there, Martin.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for helping me break up that fight today. I was scared to death.
You're welcome.
What fight? Who was fighting?
The janitor and the nurse.
Mañana.
See you tomorrow.
Well, it isn't all tinsel and glitter here like it is in Uganda, is it, Martin? Well, what do you mean, close the school if you don't have enough teachers? If I close this school, at least 2/3 of these kids don't have any place to go. Well, it is not like the weekend. The last time they were free during the week, they turned this neighborhood into a madhouse. I will not close this school. I may have to close the school.
Oh, that would be awful, Mr. Kaufman. Half those kids don't have any place to go.
Don't give me that sob story. We've lost 6 more teachers since yesterday, and there's no chance of any substitutes. Much as I hate to admit it, closing Whitman is a very real possibility.
Oh, well, couldn't we divide up the students among us and have study halls all day?
Oh, I suppose as a last resort, but I hate to keep them just marking time. I'd like to keep the classes going, if we can. Now, does anybody have another idea?
Well, we built a school in Uganda, and then some of the guys got sick, and there were only a few of us left, and so we had to combine 2 and 3 subjects into the same class.
Hey, why couldn't that work here?
Look, it could work. I could combine my first period American history class with world geography, and even journalism. And using the morning newspaper, we could talk about how the subjects relate.
Yes, like bookkeeping and basic math.
Automobile mechanics and physics in the 4th period.
It's a fabulous idea. I mean, it shows how the subjects interrelate. It really would work.
Okay, it's a fair idea in a pinch, and I hereby declare this thing a pinch. We'll try it. Okay, now I want to see the department heads in my office right away, please. And folks, it's going to be kind of a long first period, so let's hold the fort.
Right.
I suppose you're waiting for a compliment.
I wouldn't mind.
I like your tie.
Thank you.
morning. Mr. Dixon.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Kaufman. You know, combining those classes like Martin suggested really worked yesterday.
Well, it wasn't a bad idea. I think we're out of the woods now. The substitute board's been offering me teachers all morning now that we don't need them. Oh, come on. I want to show you something. It's from Martin. Sort of a thank you gift for his help. I had to get a guy out of bed at 6:30 this morning to inscribe it.
Why a horse?
I don't know, it's the silliest looking thing they had. Read the inscription, it's funny. Don't you think it's funny?
Yeah, it's funny. Mr. Kaufman, I admit that it's none of my business. But don't you think Martin would appreciate knowing how you actually feel rather than getting a gag gift?
Isn't it, getting a little late for your next class?
You know, putting those classes together yesterday, well, I felt it made education seem so meaningful. Don't mind me. I talk like this all the time. I drive your father right up the wall.
I'm glad to hear it.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
I'd wish I'd gotten to know you better.
Yeah, so do I.
Well, maybe we can keep in touch. I mean, that is if you're not already otherwise socially encumbered.
Well, I am somewhat encumbered. That's why I'm going back to New York.
Well, goodbye.
Goodbye.
It's been a pleasure. See you again sometime?
I'm on my way to the airport.
I'm sorry I can't drive you. I can't get a substitute principal.
That's okay. It's easier to take a cab.
Say hello to Joanne for me.
I will. What's that?
Well, that's a trophy.
Whose trophy?
To schools. We just won it.
With a horse on it? What'd you win it for?
Polo. Polo. Martin.
Goodbye, Dad.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Martin.
Yes?
Come here, please. Martin, there's some things that are not easy for some people to say. Some people aren't good at certain things. You know what I'm driving at.
No. I don't think I do.
You're really not going to help me with this thing, are you? You're really going to make me say it myself?
Yeah.
All right. Martin, I thank you for what you've done. I thank you for what you are. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry if I haven't shown it. You've turned out better than any father could hope for his son to turn out.
Dad.
Martin, I haven't said this to you since you were 7 years old. But I love you. And now I wish somebody would shoot me because when I get...
Peter? Mr. Kaufman? Looks like you're feeling pretty good this morning.
Better than good. Excuse me. I've got a temperature of 102. The nurse is sending me home.
The flu? Well, you've earned it. We're in good health.
Thank you. Goodbye. Pete, do me a favor, will you? Pick me up in the morning. This being without a car is murder.
What's wrong with yours?
It needed a tune-up, so I let Mr. Markovsky talk me into letting the boys in his automotive shop class take a crack at it. That was 6 days ago.
6 days for a tune-up?
They got a little carried away. After they tuned it up, they decided to put on high compression heads, a dual exhaust, 4-barrel carburetors, and a racing camshaft.
You know, I can hardly wait to see you burning rubber in the parking lot. When's it gonna be ready?
Markovsky promised me tomorrow for sure. Oh, boy. I better get back to school. For the PTA dinner in the cafeteria.
If you're supposed to eat in the cafeteria, why'd you just eat here?
Need you ask?
I'll give you a lift.
No, relax. Finish your dinner. I'll walk. It's not very far. If I'm lucky, I'll get mugged on the way. See you tomorrow.
Pretend you know me. Please, somebody is following me.
Who, hired killers or enemy agents?
I was on the bus and this man sat next to me. A nice-looking man, and we began to talk, and then he made some suggestions.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I don't know why I just didn't tell the bus driver, but instead I got off the bus, and so did the man. He's been following me for a couple of blocks.
Is he still out there?
Well, I don't see him now. I guess it's okay. Thanks.
Wait a minute, he may still be out there.
Look, I've imposed enough on you already.
You asked me to pretend I know you, right? Why pretend? I'm Pete Dixon. Sit down.
Leslie Gleason.
Hello, Leslie.
Hi, Pete. Look, I'm sorry about this. I mean, most times a thing like that wouldn't shake me up so much.
Don't apologize. Why shouldn't it?
Well, let's just say it's not the first time a man's done that. If I'd been in my own territory, I'd be able to handle it okay.
You're from out of town?
I'm staying with relatives until I find a job.
Your relatives? Are they expecting you for dinner?
Not really. Why?
I'll drive you home after you have something to eat here.
Really, Pete, I don't...
Any argument, and I'll send you right back out there.
Call me soon, okay?
I don't think I'd better.
You're not married.
No. But I am involved.
You don't act like a man who's involved.
Leslie, you're a very beautiful girl. Very appealing. But like I told you, I'm involved.
If you say so.
I'm being straight with you.
Have it your way. I had a lovely time. Don't lose my number.
Oh, good morning. How was the ballet last night?
It's pretty. Funny how you always have something to do when the ballet's in town. Did you get all your papers graded?
Not quite. I was planning to take you to dinner at Emilio's and tell you all about it later.
Now, what did you do that calls for Emilio's on a Tuesday night? I mean, it can't be anything good, right? What happened?
This isn't the time or the place.
Oh, wow. It's that bad, huh? What are you looking at?
I'll tell you at dinner.
This is going to be a long dinner.
Looking for somebody?
Have you got an older sister? So that was you last night.
That was me, all right.
Set me up for that, didn't you?
Well, let's just say I planned it that way.
All that stuff about being followed and being from out of town, looking for a job.
Pretty convincing, huh?
Very convincing. Why?
Oh, would you have been interested in me if I told you I was a 12th grader?
I thought I made it clear to you last night that I was involved.
After you kissed me.
I'm not going to play your game.
Hi, Mr. Dixon. Oh, you know my friend Pam, don't you, Pete? She's in one of your classes.
Pam?
We'll have to continue our discussion later in a more private place, right?
Wrong.
Oh, there you are, Pete. I mean, Mr. Dixon. I just wanted to tell you that Mrs. Greenlay is sick today, and Mr. Kaufman's letting me take over her 4th period history class. Isn't that sensational?
See you later, Pete.
So I was wondering if it's all right with you if I miss your 3rd period class. Hey, she called you Pete.
I noticed that. Do you offer your counseling services to teachers as well as students?
You have a real knack for giving me a nervous stomach lately. Does this have to do with what happened last night?
And also what happened today.
Today? Well, let's start with last night and work up to it.
I had dinner last night with Mr. Kaufman at Bob's Broiler.
Oh, I admit, I'm a little jealous, but not distraught.
Kaufman had to leave. That's when this girl showed up.
What girl?
Just this girl, sitting in the booth with me.
You mean you just looked up and there was this girl sitting in your booth next to you?
She asked me to pretend I knew her. She said she was being followed by somebody who was on the bus with her. She came into Bob's Broiler for help. That was it. I wouldn't make up a thing like this. I just thought I'd tell you so you'd know.
I'm sorry. I'm glad you told me.
There's more. I felt sorry for her. She seemed so upset. So I bought her dinner and drove her home.
Like I said, I'm glad you told me.
There's more. Look, Liz, it really didn't mean anything. I mean, you know, just the circumstances.
Are you trying to tell me that you...
No. No, she just kissed me, that's all. Didn't mean anything. I told her I was involved with you.
I certainly appreciate that.
Look, honey, try and accept this as the truth, because there's something else. Today I found out she was a student here at Whitman High. She set me up for the whole thing. Now I've got to figure out a way to handle it. Well, this is the place where you're supposed to say something.
Hi, everybody. Guess what? You know that class I took over today? It went just great. Oh, Pete, there's something that I heard today that I think you ought to know about. There's this terrible lie going around about you and some girl that's apparently true. Oh, no, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh, wow. You really had me going there for a minute. I mean, even if there wasn't anything to it, no matter how innocent on your part, you could really get into trouble. I mean, what defense would you have if some girl decided to yell rape? Well, it's true. It's not fair the way a girl tries to take advantage of a male teacher.
She's right, Pete. Maybe somebody ought to have a talk with that girl.
You want me to? I guess not. How about Mr. Kaufman? No. How about you?
Come in.
You want to see me, Miss McIntyre?
Come in, Leslie. Sit down. I assume you know why I called you in.
You assume right.
This is for your own good. I want you to understand it.
Oh, sure.
I'm trying to say that what you're doing is potentially damaging to yourself as well as to Mr. Dixon.
I think Pete can take care of himself without your help, Miss McIntyre. And I know I can.
Look, I can understand your being infatuated with Mr. Dixon. He's a very attractive man.
Ain't that the truth?
But believe me, you'll get over it. Become interested in boys closer to your own age.
I'm not interested in boys, Miss McIntyre. Not that it's any of your business, but I was engaged to a man much older than Pete.
You were?
Mm-hmm. Well, why don't you ask Pete if I seemed too young for him last night?
What are you trying to do? Hold that over his head? Use it against him to get something you want?
Don't you wish that was it? Something simple like blackmail for better grades or something? You could handle that, couldn't you, Miss McIntyre?
What do you want, then?
Pete. That's what I want.
I really blew it. I broke the cardinal rule of student counseling and let myself get emotionally involved. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
She put me right on the defensive from the minute she walked into my office. Leslie Gleason may only be 17 years old, but she's got the mind of a 28-year-old.
And the body, too.
She's not going to give up so easy, Pete. Hold on to your hat, but she plans to marry you.
Well, I've got news for her. If I get married, the girl isn't going to be 17.
Oh, I don't know. You might enjoy it. You could go to Disneyland on your honeymoon.
Yeah, when you come to think of it, she's not that much younger than you are, Pete. 11, 12 years. She's obviously all wrong for you.
Right.
Maybe you ought to talk to her.
No. I'll just cool it.
She may make trouble for you if she doesn't get what she wants.
I'll take that chance. Secretary of State Seward bought Alaska from Russia for less than 2 cents an acre. The American people thought we'd pulled off a shrewd deal. Richie?
That was wrong. They thought Seward was stupid from buying a lot of useless land. They really put him down.
I wasn't aware Alaska was so funny.
We weren't laughing at that.
What were you laughing at then? Would you like to tell us about it?
No.
Read chapter 27. We may have a quiz tomorrow.
I got a message for you from somebody. She wants you to meet her at Bob's Broiler at 7. Unless you want her to be drastic.
Okay. Listen carefully while I give you the answer, because I want to make sure you get it straight. Are you ready? It goes like this. No.
That's it?
That's it.
She's not going to like that answer.
I didn't like that question.
I really do admire you. So much. So much. I really do.
Thank you. These go in the dropouts. Why?
Do I admire you?
So much.
Because of the way you're handling this whole thing.
Well, if you want to know the truth, I'm not handling it so well at all. I mean, think about it. What if Leslie decided to spin a little story for Mr. Kaufman? What would happen to Pete?
That's right. Oh, even if she told it straight, it would sound bad.
And if she wanted to give it a little color, Pete could get life.
Well, he did buy her dinner, and he did drive her home, and he did kiss her.
She kissed him.
Well, when there are 4 lips together, who's to say which ones are doing the kissing? Oh, I mean, you know and I know, but will Mr. Kaufman know? Oh, I'm sorry. I promise I'm not going to talk about it again. I promise. Where do these go?
What are they?
Miscellaneous complaints about teachers?
Oh, Mr. Dixon, Pete, you're going to be around for about an hour. I'd love a ride home.
Is your car in the shop again?
No, still. The boys do a little body work on it. Now it needs a new paint job.
What color?
I don't know. What do you like? Battleship gray or candy apple tangerine?
Hi there, Mr. Dixon. I wonder if I could talk to you. Hello, Mr. Kaufman.
Leslie Gleason, right?
That's right.
How's everything, Leslie?
Not too good. That's why I want to talk to Mr. Dixon.
Oh, well, if he can't help you, my door's always open.
Maybe you better take it up with Mr. Kaufman.
Oh, but I'd rather discuss it with you first. Oh, no offense, Mr. Kaufman.
No, that's all right. I've got to go back to my office anyway and requisition some volleyballs.
You won't forget to pick me up. In an hour. Good.
Maybe we should go somewhere more private.
No, thank you. I'd rather stay right here.
Afraid you might be tempted if we're alone?
Look, Leslie, I told you, I am not interested.
You were sure interested the other night. I wonder if Kaufman would like to hear about that.
Leslie, if you're looking for romance, you're going about it wrong.
Look, Pete, I don't want it this way. You can't just walk away from me.
Watch me.
You walk away from me now, and we're gonna have us a lover's quarrel right here in front of everybody. I can make a pretty good scene if I have to.
All right. You can come with me if you want to.
Where we go?
Mr. Kaufman's office.
No, you can't.
Oh, yes, I can. We're going to settle this once and for all.
Mr. Dixon, I'd like to speak to Leslie alone. Would you leave us for a few minutes, please? No, then. Would you leave that door open, please?
What you doing?
Oh, just checking up on the old bulletin board.
Mm-hmm. I already heard about your little scuffle out on the quad.
It doesn't take the jungle telegraph long to spread the word, does it?
So what's happening?
Has anybody asked you to the senior prom lately?
No, but I bet I can guess who's asked you. Come on, give. What's going on?
Blood contributions are down 10% this year.
They're going to be up 10% if you don't answer my questions.
You can come too if you want.
So I said, what if I told you that you could get Mr. Dixon fired if he allowed himself to become involved with you? She said, not if we don't do anything in school, he couldn't. You know she's right, don't you? What you do on your own time is your business. Unless it's a morals offense.
Thanks a lot.
Well, what about her parents? Maybe we should call them in.
Oh, I tried that, too. Do you know what she said? Oh, fine, call them in. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. I wanted to ask her, is there anybody she particularly feared that I could call in? Leslie Gleason is a very shrewd young lady.
Diabolical is more like it.
Oh, come on. She's no Mata Hari. She's 17 years old.
Where?
Somewhere.
Pete, take my advice. Keep as far away from her as you can. Fortunately, she's not in any of your classes, but don't ever let her get you alone. Does she have your phone number?
I hope not.
Good. Well, just in case, get it changed. And unlisted. Get an unlisted address, too, if you can. If it wasn't so late in the school year, I'd get her transferred to another school, but that's liable to cause more problems than it solves.
I want you to have her transferred.
But I just told you.
Not to another school. Into my history class.
Why?
You took the word right out of my mouth. Why?
It's time Leslie found out she was 17.
How'd you do it? How'd you get in his class? Go figure it, child. One day he makes like he wants to shake me, and the next day, here I am. I know I didn't arrange it, so you know who did.
Good morning.
Well, all I can say is don't fight it, honey.
Did you hear about him and Leslie?
What about him?
Hope you'll enjoy being in our class, Leslie.
Oh, I know I will.
It ain't my business.
Take a seat, Bernie. Andrew Johnson was the only president in the United States who was ever impeached. You take notes in here.
Oh, I never take notes. I usually manage to get by without them.
Not in here, you don't. Richie.
Johnson wasn't really impeached. They tried to impeach him, but it didn't work.
Helen.
He was impeached. Impeachment means being charged with doing something wrong, whether you're found guilty or not.
Is that right, Mr. Dixon?
That's right. But why was Andrew Johnson impeached? Leslie.
What?
Why was Andrew Johnson impeached?
Because he was a bad president.
That's the obvious answer, but not necessarily the right one. Al.
The radicals in Congress were bugged because they wanted to punish the Southern leaders after the Civil War.
About Johnson's impeachment. 36 votes. What does that mean? Helen.
2/3 of the Senate, the amount of votes needed to convict Andrew Johnson.
36 votes and what else? Bernie.
And he was convicted.
We all know that, but what's at stake here?
The presidency?
Right. 36 votes, and the President of the United States is thrown out of office for the first time in history. 19 votes and he's still in. One man's vote can throw it either way. So somebody's under a lot of pressure. Isn't that right, Leslie?
Oh, if you say so, Mr. Dixon.
Well, what do you say?
I don't know. I have to think about it.
Okay. Johnson's impeachment. One man's vote either way, and he's out or he's in. So who's the pressure on? Think about it, Leslie. We'll wait.
The man who had to make the deciding vote?
Right. One man whom nobody had ever heard of before suddenly has the power in his hands to make history. That's pressure. Very good, Leslie. Class dismissed.
See you later. Is this your way of getting even?
What do you mean?
Well, you were pretty rough on me today.
I was rough on Bernie, too. But you didn't notice that, did you?
You and Bernie don't have anything going.
Oh, yes, we do. I'm a teacher, and he's a student. That's what you and I have got going.
Okay, I got your message. Like you said the other day, it takes two. And I don't want to be in your class anymore.
You can stay. There's no reason for you not to.
I know. That's why I want to go. Bye for now, Mr. Dixon.
You know, one of the mysteries of civilization is why so many girls fall in love with their teachers. I mean, when you think about it, the picture of a teacher as an ideal romantic figure is pretty ridiculous, isn't it? He's got an unexciting job, a pitiful salary, very limited prospects for the future. Now, why would a swinger like Leslie Gleason fall for a man like that?
In case you hadn't noticed, he's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh.
Oh, incidentally, thank you for backing me up as far as Leslie was concerned.
Well, I usually go along with the teacher, unless the evidence to the contrary is pretty conclusive.
Like what?
Well, like a case I handled a few years ago. Now, that girl had pretty strong proof.
Oh, what was it?
A boy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces.
mean, I really studied last night. No phone, no TV, nothing. My mama thought I was sick. What was Fillmore's first name, Milton or Millard? Millard, that's right. Oh, but he won't ask that anyway.
How come you're so sure?
Mr. Dixon never asks anything I know. You ready? What you have to worry about, you always pass.
Yeah, I passed. Hey, what's in the basket? Big lunch? Oh, she's gorgeous. Oh, can I hold her?
Not so loud. I'm trying to hide her and you coming on like my grandmother. Come on.
Is that your sister?
Yeah, the babysitter didn't show up this morning. Terrific test, Mr. Dixon.
I'm glad you like it. What's in there?
What's in where?
Pam.
Mr. Dixon, it's her sister.
Dorothea.
She just followed her to school.
Okay, back to work. I want to talk to you. We'll take Dorothea with us. I want her to hear this, too. Take over, Miss Johnson.
All right. Everybody back to work.
See, my mother has a job, and the babysitter didn't show up this morning, so I didn't want to miss the exam, and I knew you wouldn't mind. Dottie's such a good baby. She doesn't cry or anything. I couldn't miss the exam.
Which reminds me,
Please, Mr. Dixon.
go back in. I'll take Dorothea down to Miss McIntyre's.
Oh, thank you.
I'll be back.
I'll take care of everything.
Mr. Dixon, if she fusses, just sing to her a little bit. I gotta have a man. That's her favorite.
I'll remember that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do I get 3 guesses?
300. You won't even come close.
You want to tell me about it?
Sarah.
What?
There's not much time left.
Time for what?
You haven't written one word. Is something wrong?
Mm-mm.
There is something wrong. Look, you can tell me. Come on. Sarah, you've got to take the exam.
Why?
Why? Because it's part of the... Oh, don't misunderstand me. I don't fully approve of the grade system, but it's the... Well, it's what you've got to... Well, you know.
No, I don't know. No, I really don't.
Sarah, what is it? I mean, you've never been in any trouble before.
I'm sorry.
No, but this week, no, you've been different. I mean, inattentive. Like, leaving a bit surly. I heard you had to go to Mr. Kaufman's office.
Twice.
Sarah, this isn't you.
Are you sure?
You're a good, average student.
Yeah, that's me, all right. Average.
Take the test. For me. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. You don't want to get an F, do you?
Last exam I got an A. Don't ask me how, just an accident. So if I get an F this time, I'll average out to a C. And that's what I am, a C student. Average.
But Sarah, you've got to. Don't make me do this.
Do what?
Send you to Mr. Kaufman's office.
Okay. You're nice. I won't make you do it. I'll just go. You do that great.
Why, thank you. I've been doing it for quite a few years.
I can see that.
Sarah, come in, please. See? What's new?
I guess you could say I walked out on an exam.
Oh, Sarah, this is, what, the third time this week you've been to see me?
Right.
And in a year and a half you've been at Walt Whitman before. You never...
I wasn't sent here once.
Right.
I guess I wanted to know you better.
What is that, sarcasm? Because it's not smart to be sarcastic, Sarah. Then I'll have to act like a principal and you're going to lose. And why can't we just be nice to each other? So you're in a little trouble. Okay, everybody's got a right to get in a little trouble once in a while. Just so we'll notice him or her. You see how understanding I can be? You don't see. All right. Time to be a principal. You walked out on an exam. Why?
I wasn't interested.
Why weren't you interested?
Because it doesn't mean anything. Not to me.
Well, not now, but someday it might.
Can you promise me that one day that history test will have any effect on my life?
Come on, Sarah, of course not. You know that, but you're not going to help yourself by walking out on it.
In other words, if I really hang in there and take my tests and pass my courses, then someday, with the right breaks, I can be her.
You can be who?
That machine lady out there. The human crank.
That's not funny. Kaufman. Who, Liz? Oh, you've got problems. What, now? All right. I'll be right over. We can compare problems. Take a walk. Oh, will you wait here, please? Your problem is better than mine.
Mr. Kaufman.
I know, it's my fault. I was the one that said, enjoy your vacation. Have a summer you'll always remember. Now look.
Mr. Kaufman, that's Pam Hudley's sister. Her mother works and the babysitter didn't show up, so she brought the baby to school.
Of course.
She had to. She had a big exam.
We have a rule at Walt Whitman. You've got to be at least 13. Tell you what, I will take your problem, and I want you to talk to my problem out there.
What are you doing here? Why aren't you in class?
Miss Olson has a little problem. I want Liz to talk to her.
Oh.
Where are you taking the baby?
To home economics, because it's a girl. If it were a boy, I'd take him to manual training. 3 times this week in my office. The record is 4, established in 1951. I don't want her to tie it.
Sarah, come in.
Oh, by the way, tell Pam, what's her name, after the exam she's to take the baby home. She won't be charged for the absence. Eggs.
One of the most important issues in this country has been states' rights. We've heard a lot about it lately. But what historical figure comes to mind in connection with states' rights? Jason.
John C. Calhoun.
How'd you know that?
Well, it was in last night's assignment.
Can anybody tell me something about John C. Calhoun? Sarah.
John C. who?
Didn't you read last night's assignment? Anybody?
Mr. Dixon, can I say something?
Sure.
What's the difference? I mean, what's he to me? John C.
Calhoun.
Calhoun. What's he got to do with my life? Tell me.
Okay, I'll try.
Excuse me, Mr. Dixon, but he's just something you teach. I mean, like remember Mrs. Wharton used to teach history? She taught my father. She probably taught him all about John C. Calhoun. Well, how did it help him? He's a clerk in the post office. And nobody sends letters to John C. Calhoun.
You mean it wasn't useful?
Right. Like I took Latin. You know what the homework was once? We had to make a list of 500 words beginning with a hard C. Why? Well, what for? I'm going to be out of here soon anyway, and get a job for a while, and then get married and have kids. A lot of good hard C's are going to do me.
In other words, if it doesn't help you become a wife and a mother, you're not interested, right?
Right.
What if you don't become a wife and a mother?
Oh, come on, Mr.
Okay, I take it back. You will become a wife and a mother. And John C. Calhoun won't help you cook a meal. I guess to most of you, or many of you, a lot of what we're doing here seems to be useless. But education is not useless. I wouldn't be here if I thought it was. Okay, Sarah?
Sure, Mr. Dixon.
I'd like to stay and help you work this out, but I've got to monitor the north stairwell.
The more I think about Sarah, the more I wish I had a stairwell to monitor.
Hey.
Hello, Sarah.
Mr. Dixon, Miss McIntyre.
Have a seat.
Oh, no, thank you. Mr. Dixon, I'm sorry about what happened in class today.
No need to be sorry. You had something to say, so you said it. Probably did me as much good as it did you.
Well, I don't know, but I had to say it. I guess I was hoping you'd understand.
I think I do. Would you like to take the test over again? I'd be glad to.
No, you don't understand. You don't.
Sarah, what is it that we don't understand?
I was sorry about what happened because I didn't want you to think I was being wise. But I meant what I said. History doesn't mean anything to me. Remember, Miss McIntyre, when we talked about what classes I had to take this year? Had to take. You kept saying I had to take this, I had to take that. And I kept thinking, why? Why couldn't I take something I wanted to take? Something for me.
But Sarah, there's a whole list of elective courses.
Something for me. Me. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I have a terrible feeling I've been that girl's counselor for a year and a half, and I don't even know her.
You're Lana's mother, of course. Oh, no, don't tell her to do that. No, that was because... Madam, this is not a nursery here, much as I'd love to oblige. All right. Be out the rest of the week. Guess what? All right, now, look. Everybody, take your brothers and sisters home, please. If you have to babysit, please do it there.
Oh, Mr. Kaufman, I've never been marked absent from school.
Your fantastic record will remain unblemished, at least for today. Now, please, go home, and tell your parents no more of this. Any more back here? All right.
Well, you've always said school should play an important role in the community.
Please, don't quote me.
And that we should be more concerned about family difficulties.
Pete, you know, I hate to be quoted.
And the student's work in school has its source in the home.
Oh, boy. You have to quote me, don't you?
Actually, I came in here because I have a problem. Sarah Olson.
Sarah Olson? That's the only problem I haven't had all day.
I don't think you will either. She's given up on us.
Given up on us? Then what are we supposed to do for her? I've got students with big problems, F students.
And what about the C students like Sarah? The ones that get lost in the shuffle. Don't we have any time for them?
Pete, you know the statistics. 2/3 of our students are C students, so-called average students. No, the fact is, I don't have time for every one of them.
Well, that's their problem. Nobody has any time for them. That's Sarah's problem. She's tired of being average. She wants more.
Well, fine. I'm all for that. Let's give her more. Tell me what it is. I'll see to it personally.
I'm not sure. That's my problem.
Well, what can I tell you? Well, you go home and think about your problem. I'll go home and think about my problem, maybe tomorrow. Or, unless you'd like to switch problems, of course.
No, thank you. I'll keep mine.
Didn't you sleep well last night?
Oh, pretty well for about 40 minutes. How about you?
Slept like a log. All that talk about Sarah, and I sleep like a log.
Good morning. I've got something to show you.
What? What?
Come on, I'll show you.
What is it?
I'll tell you when you get upstairs. Take a look.
I see. It's a room. It's an empty room.
I beg your pardon.
Almost empty?
Thank you. Did you tell him yet?
Not a thing.
Good. Ladies, picture, if you will, an array of baby cribs, row on row, right here. And in those cribs, an array of ecstatic infants. Now, why, you ask, are they so ecstatic?
Why are they so ecstatic, Mr. Kaufman?
Wonderful question, Miss Johnson. Because this is theirs. All theirs.
And over here, table, paints, easels, and a sandbox.
They can draw, finger paint. They still do that, don't they? I mean, finger painting hasn't become square, has it?
Do you mean you're turning this into a nursery?
Yes. The parents need it, the students need it. I'm calling it Operation Sandpile. Operation Sandpile? You think it's too Madison Avenue?
I think it's groovy.
Oh, yes? Would you go so far as to say it's out of sight? Pete, tell them what it's going to be like.
Well, it's strictly a volunteer program. The kids who are willing to give up their free periods can work here, babysitting. Also, after school. We'll be completely outfitted. Meals, everything.
Hey, who's paying for all this?
We have enough trouble trying to get erasers.
Don't worry about it. I've already spoken to the school board. They're considering it now. They don't dare turn me down.
Did you threaten to resign?
Worse, I threaten not to resign.
I think it's perfect. I think it's a great idea.
Now comes your part.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm going to need some people to staff it, and I want you to do the recruiting for me.
I've got a candidate for you.
Hi, Sarah. What do you think?
It's okay. What's it for?
It's Mr. Kaufman's idea. A nursery project for parents who can't find or afford babysitters.
It's a good idea.
Yes, it is. Surprised that a principal would think of something like this?
Sort of.
He calls it Operation Sandpile. Beginning to sound more like a principal, isn't he?
You wanted to see me?
Yeah. We're looking for girls to staff the nursery. I thought maybe you might like to volunteer.
Another elective?
No. As a matter of fact, you'd be doing it in your free periods and after school.
Oh, no thanks. I like my free periods. And when school's out, that's where I want to be. Out.
Sarah, you've been looking for something useful. Well, here it is. You want some training for being a mother? You can get it right here. You like babies. They'll be here, too.
Well, I'm not going to be a mother for a while.
Then you're going to have to get a job, right? Now, what are you going to do? Be a file clerk? A package wrapper?
I was thinking of becoming a mimeograph operator.
You could be a nursery aide. That's right. We're going to have a program for it right here. The certificate will get you a job in any nursery in town. But there's only...
Well, I'll have to get my grades up, right?
That's right. For this, average isn't good enough.
Thanks, but I don't think so. Not that you didn't do a good selling job.
Now listen. All week long, you've been doing everything you could do to get us to pay attention to you. All right, we're paying attention to you because you hit us with a pretty serious problem.
Look, Miss McIntyre, I don't want to fight.
Well, I do. Because we came up with an answer. But it's no good, is it, Sarah? It's a lot easier to ignore it than to try something you might really have to work at.
Okay. If you feel this strongly about it, I'll try it.
Wrong reason. Don't do it for me. Do it for yourself.
He really did a nice job of decorating, didn't they?
Yeah, look at these pretty curtains somebody made. Not just somebody. Guess who? Who?
Not Sarah.
No, me. Oh.
You busy?
Come in. Listen to this. Letter from a parent. Dear Mr. Kaufman, so far it's nice, right? I just want to tell you that Operation Sandpile is the best thing that Whitman High has done in years.
Oh, that's so nice.
Wrong. You've just made a very common mistake. You've been seduced by the opening paragraph of a letter from a parent. They save the zingers for the end. Wait a minute. Inspired methods, go to the community. And oh, here we are. Have you ever considered the value in having your students care for animals during school hours?
What?
Oh, this gets better. Listen. Have you ever considered the plight of the pussycat with a working mother?
Hey, that's a whole new program for you. You can call it, Operation Sandbox.
Oh. Hello. Delivery's down the hall at the nursery.
Pam's mother sent this.
Pam's mother? I thought she already gave.
She wanted to say thank you.
Huh? Oh. This is enough to thank an army with.
Oh, I got first dibs on a potato salad.
Barry, when Pete gets here, why don't you let me handle it?
No, I'd better do it. My new analyst said that I've got to work out my own problems, and I might as well start now.
Your new analyst? What happened to your old analyst?
Oh, he and I never really had any rapport. He said I made him nervous.
I see. Look, I think I better do the talking.
No, it's my job. I'll do it.
Good morning, Mr. Kaufman. Barry, you wanted to see me?
Mr. Wisegarden would like to speak to you.
Maybe you'd better do it.
Pete, Barry teaches history in one of our adult education classes a couple of nights a week. He needs someone to take over his classes for him.
But my new analyst said that the double responsibility of teaching both night and day classes is too much for me.
So I suggested you because of your well-known love of teaching and your dedication to the high educational standards of Walt Whitman High School. And because you've just suffered a tragedy that is the worst thing that can happen to a teacher.
What's that?
A ring job.
A what?
My car needs a ring job. Okay, I'll take it. I could use the money.
Well, wait a minute. No, we don't want you to just take it because you need the money. Think of it this way. You'll be teaching adults who really want to learn.
Like I said, I'll take the job.
I mean, it's really rewarding, Pete. Those people aren't like the kids we teach in the daytime. They're really receptive to what we have to offer.
I'll take the job.
Well, we don't want you to just take it because we're pressuring you either.
Oh, you're not pressuring me. My garage is. Can I have the job?
Why should I be so upset? Monday and Wednesday nights, you take an extension course at the university. On Friday nights, you play basketball. And now on your 2 free nights, you're going to be teaching a class. I mean, any girl would just flip to have a boyfriend she can see at lunch.
That reminds me. I won't be able to have lunch with you tomorrow.
When do you start?
Tonight?
That means we won't be able to see that movie again, huh?
That's right. The class won't be over until 10.
By the time I see that movie with you, it'll be on TV.
Unless they've got an X-rated channel. I'll tell you what, you go to the movie and I'll meet you afterwards for coffee.
Terrific.
Ralph Fisk.
Glad to meet you, Mr.
Fisk, Ralph Fisk.
I'm Pete Dixon.
Oh, glad to meet you. Where's Mr. Wisegarten?
I'll be taking over for Mr. Wisegarten.
Oh, yeah, his new analyst said he needed a change, didn't he?
Right.
Right. Well, I hope it helps. We're all pulling for him. Welcome aboard, Mr. Dixon.
Thank you.
Oh, we left off last time discussing Zachary Taylor.
I know. I talked to Mr. Wisegarten about that.
Oh. Well, just wanted to wish you luck.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
Did you read the assignment?
Yeah.
What did you think of Taylor's decision? When I first
Frank. How'd you do? Okay, Ted. How's the bowling?
Hey, I had a 564 series last night.
I had a 548. But my last game was a 210.
Hey, you keep that up, you'll have to turn pro.
Good evening. I'm Pete Dixon. I'll be taking over for Mr. Wisegarten.
Is he all right?
Oh, he's fine. Just fine.
Fine. Well.
Well, hello.
Hello, goodbye.
Goodbye. Airport.
Airport. Mother.
Mother. Father.
Wait a minute. Mother, father, airport? What's this all about?
It's free association. Mr. Wisegarten says it helps us loosen our minds.
It's a very good idea. I do things a little differently, so we'll just drop the free association for now. Let's talk about Zachary Taylor. One of the few men in history who was more famous before he became president than after. Who knows why? Yes, Miss,
Mrs. Bankston. Judy Bankston. He was a big general during the Mexican War.
Right. Who can add to that? Ralph?
Well, one of the most interesting things about Taylor was that he really didn't like politics. As a matter of fact, very few people realize that before he became a presidential candidate himself, he never even voted.
Very good. Okay, we got a famous general who became president. Who knows how many generals became presidents?
The Southerners were asking that the African slave trade be opened again.
Right. And there was something else they wanted in the late 1840s. Who knows what it is? Ralph.
The thing they wanted most was the...
That's it. What do you say we grab a beer?
Sure. Where do you want to go?
Leo's?
You were wonderful. Just wonderful. You know, you remind me of my grandson.
Thank you.
Would you do me a favor, please?
If I can.
Would you read this over and fix up all the mistakes?
Okay.
See if you can do it by next time.
I'll try.
Thank you.
Good night now.
Good night.
Ladies first.
I just wanted to say I enjoyed the class tonight.
So did I. It's a new experience for me.
I never got so much out of a class before. Don't tell Mr. Weisgarten I said that.
Okay. Good night now.
Good night.
You know, that was a very interesting point you made about Millard Fillmore there. I mean, I considered I knew a lot about the guy, but I never realized that he was the first vice president to fire the whole cabinet when he became president. I always wondered, what do you think would have happened if he hadn't signed the fugitive slave law?
Look, Ralph, maybe we can pick it up Thursday, okay?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the way I figure it, Harriet Beecher Stowe probably wouldn't have written Uncle Tom's Cabin if Fillmore hadn't signed that fugitive slave law. It took 53 ballots for the Whigs to choose a candidate. Could you imagine that? 53 ballots! No wonder they went out of business, you know? Hey, look at this. I didn't realize we walked that far.
It's been nice talking to you, Ralph. Maybe we can pick it up again sometime.
Pete, can I buy you a cup of coffee?
No, thanks. I'm meeting somebody.
Bet it's a girl, right?
Right.
Ah. Hey, which one is she?
A girl sitting at the table.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought so. Boy, she is a real lovely-looking girl, Pete.
Yes, she is.
Is she a teacher?
No, a counselor.
Counselor? Oh. Boy, you two make a real lovely-looking couple. Well, I guess we can finish our talk on Thursday, huh?
Ralph, I'd invite you in, but...
Hey, I understand. You have a date.
That's right.
Well, we'll finish our talk on Thursday. Enjoy your coffee. I'll see you on Thursday, huh?
Take care.
Okay. Night, Pete.
Ralph.
You know, most people don't think of Franklin Pierce as a funny president. But this is one of my favorite stories about him. Someone once went up to him and said, "Mr. President, what do you think is the trouble with Congress?" And he said, these are my own words, of course. He said, "The less important the subject, the more they talk about it."
Ralph, what kind of work do you do?
Oh, I'm nothing important. I'm a dispatcher over at AQ Trucking. I was just trying to remember what college Franklin Pierce went to.
Offhand, I don't know.
Or was it Amherst? Boy, isn't it funny how you can know something as well as your own name and then just forget it? Well, I'll let you know. It was nice meeting you, Liz. Hope I didn't keep you up too late.
Oh, that's all right. After the 15th cup of coffee, I can't sleep anyway.
You have some sense of humor there. Well, take care, you guys. I'll see you soon.
Good night, Ralph.
He's a nice guy.
Very nice.
He certainly is interested in history.
Very interested.
He's dull, Pete.
Very dull.
Can I help you?
You're Mr. Kaufman, aren't you?
Yes?
Yes, I thought so. I've seen you from a distance, but I've never seen you up close. Fisk is my name, Ralph Fisk.
Fisk, you a parent of one of the students?
Oh, I'm a student.
You're a student?
Yeah, I guess you thought I meant a day student. I go to school at night. I've been going here for 6 or 7 years. That's how come I know you.
7 years?
Well, I graduated when I was a kid. Now I take classes just for fun, especially history. I am what you would call a history nut.
Well, have you ever considered college, Mr. Fisk?
Oh, no. I never thought I could make it in college.
I see. Well, what can I do for you?
I really came to see Mr. Dixon. Boy, he is some history teacher.
find him in room 222.
No, he's not there. I've already looked, but it's empty.
Oh, well, maybe he's got a free period right now. If you'd like to wait in the administration office, you're very
Maybe
welcome.
he's with Liz. Boy, Liz and Pete make a really great couple, don't they?
Mr. Fisk, excuse me, I'm a little busy right now.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Ready for lunch?
Alone?
Just you and me. Hamburgers instead of the cafeteria.
Put it that way, you make hamburgers sound like filet mignon.
Oh, honey, about last night. I'm sorry, but what could I do? He just tagged along.
Pete, Liz? Guess who asked me to have lunch with him? Pete. No, the new physics teacher. You know, the cute one with the glasses?
Alice, you know, I think...
Liz, Pete. Hi, glad I caught up with you.
Alice, this is Ralph Fisk, a student in my night class.
Hello.
Pleased to meet you.
Well, now if you'll excuse me, I have to go. Nice meeting you. Bye.
Bye. Boy, she's some cute chicken.
Oh, what brings you over here, Ralph?
Well, where I work is just a couple blocks away, and I looked up the answer to that question.
What question?
You know, the one about Franklin Pierce and where he went to college? Some things kind of just nag away at you.
Oh, they sure do.
Well, it's Bowdoin College. Class of 24. 1824.
Thanks, Ralph. Thanks for dropping by. Well, Liz and I, we're going to lunch.
Lunch? No kidding. So am I.
The South was very interested in something the United States wanted to purchase in the 1840s. What was it? Judy.
Cuba. We offered Spain $100 million for it, but they turned it down.
I know a lot of airlines that would have been a lot happier today had they accepted.
Hi. Gee, I'm glad I caught you. There's something you said tonight in class I want to talk to you about. For instance, very few people realize that bathtubs in Philadelphia in 1836 were illegal.
Look, Ralph, tonight, if you don't mind.
Oh, wow. Hey, thanks, Pete.
For what?
You know.
I have never been so shocked at the thought of committing adultery.
Alice, having lunch with a married man isn't committing adultery.
I don't care. I'll never trust a physics teacher again. Hey, here comes Pete. He's with that man again.
Hi, Liz.
Hello.
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 Beautiful evening, isn't it?
Hi. Can I have some apple pie and coffee, please?
Coffee.
It's Alice, isn't it?
Yes, Alice Johnson. I hate
Johnson?
to be the one to break the news
You
to
related
but
to one of the
even
two
Laurel and
ex-presidents?
Hardy were occasionally seen apart.
Oh, I'm Ralph Fisk. We met at school the other day.
I remember.
You come here often?
Yes, quite a bit.
You a teacher?
No, not yet. I'm student teaching.
Oh. What subject?
History.
History?
She just said the secret word.
You know, Pete and I were just talking about what it was like to live in the 18th century.
You were?
Mm-hmm. Did you know that between 1820 and 1860, the center of population shifted 16 miles east of Bloomfield, West Virginia, to 20 miles south of Chillicothe, Ohio?
I just know he's going to ask me for a date. Now, what am I going to say if he calls?
What do you want to say?
Well, I want to say no, but in a wonderful way.
Why don't you just make up a good excuse?
I'm not very good at that, especially when the guy isn't a winner. Those seem to be the guys that are always calling me. You know, the kind that ask you to go to the Sound of Music on the first date? Well, I've seen it 3 times.
Maybe he won't call after all.
Oh, he'll call. He thinks I'm cute. I mean, I'm not, but he thinks I am.
Hey, this has got to have happened to you before. It happens to all of us. What do you usually do?
Of course, that's it. Thank you, Liz.
Well, you're welcome. What do you do?
Well, I usually go out with him 3 times. Well, you see, if I don't go out with him the first time, he feels totally rejected. Now, if I go out with him once and don't go out with him again, well, then he thinks I had a bad time on the first date. Now, if I only go out with him twice, now, this makes sense, it really does. Now, if I only go out with him twice, then he thinks I only went out with him the second time because I had such a bad time on the first date. I figured 3 times. Doesn't that make sense?
You keep following that line of reasoning, and you're going to marry somebody just to keep from hurting his feelings.
I had a fantastic time.
Did you?
Yeah.
I really liked the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Such a good movie.
Yeah.
I've seen it 3 times already. Oh, gee, your parents are still waiting up for you.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that early.
Oh, that's okay. I have to get up early tomorrow anyway. Well. Yeah.
So you really liked the movie, huh?
Oh, I really did. I loved it. Julie Andrews is absolutely my most favorite actress.
The scenery was good. Boy, you don't see mountains like that every day, you know.
Those are really great mountains. And the music. It was a wonderful movie.
Well, they did take some historical liberties, you know.
That's true. Not too many people sang their way through World War II.
I mean, I know the Germans actually did occupy Austria during those years, but there were several very prominent German officers they didn't even begin to deal with. First, there was General von...
I'll see you again real soon, okay?
When?
Notice anything different about tonight?
Let's see. Steak dinner, cherry pie, beautiful woman. No, just an average night.
We are alone.
I did notice that.
Oh, I gotta stop giving those kids my number. Hello? Oh, hi, Alice. Hey, look, can I call you back to... You did? Well, how'd it go? You did? Hey, that's one way to keep him from talking. Hey, but what are you gonna have to do next time?
Something wrong?
Hey, I didn't realize you were so upset. Yeah, I would be too. No, it's not your fault. Hey, listen, we'll talk about it tomorrow at school, okay? All right, good night.
Well, you want to talk about it, or you just want to stand there practicing your evil eye?
That was Alice. She just got back from a date with your friend Ralph.
What else did I do?
It's what you didn't do.
Let's take that again. What didn't I do that I should have done?
You should have told your friend Ralph to leave you alone.
I would have. But one way or another, that's what everybody has told him.
Look, I love you for it, but you gotta stop feeling responsible for all the Ralphs in the world.
Isn't that my problem?
Not when it starts affecting me. This is the first time we've been alone since you started teaching that class, and who are we talking about? Ralph.
You brought it up.
Alice brought it up. She's having a nervous breakdown trying to figure out how to say no to your friend Ralph without hurting his feelings.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What do you want me to do about it? Tell him he's boring and dull?
You want Ralph around for the rest of your life?
Of course not.
Then, honey, you're not helping that guy. Because sooner or later, you're going to have to walk away. And when you do, it's going to be the biggest fall he's ever had.
Good class tonight. Of course, Buchanan was the only president who was never married, but did you know that he was engaged to a rich girl? And her parents made her call it off because they thought he was a fortune hunter. Hey, Pete, aren't we going for coffee tonight?
Why don't we sit in the car and talk for a minute, okay, Ralph?
Sure, Pete. Buchanan said he would never be happy again after he met that girl and broke up with her. Well, I wonder.
Ralph, can I say something?
Sure. Anything. Go ahead.
It's important.
Hey, feel free to say anything. I mean, I consider you a good friend. Can't say that about too many people.
Why do you think that is?
What? That I don't consider too many people my friend?
That's right. Why?
I don't know. I guess most people aren't interested in the same things I am. I guess We don't have things in common, like you and me.
What do we have in common, Ralph?
You know, history.
What else? You've talked a long time now. What do you really know about me?
I know you're a good guy.
Have you ever wondered how I feel about anything? Or for that matter, ever given me a chance to say anything?
Hey, Pete, let's go out for coffee now.
Just a minute. A pause in the conversation is not a personal sin. Tell me how you feel about what I just said. Why can't you do that, Ralph? Try talking with people instead of at them.
I do talk to people. I mean, I try to talk. You just don't seem to be interested.
That's because you give people information. What can they say? That's an interesting fact, Ralph.
What about when I talk history to you? That doesn't bore you, does it?
I'm more than just a history teacher. I'm a human being. I have other interests. Show some interest in people, Ralph. Maybe they'll show some interest in you.
Thanks, Pete. I thought you were my friend.
You never gave me a chance.
Hi, Frank.
Oh, hi.
Hey, did you read the assignment?
No, I didn't have time.
Oh. Hey, Frank, how's your bowling coming along?
Fine.
Good.
Fine. You bowl?
Oh, yeah. Did you know that in the White House they have a bowling alley? And the first time it was used... I'm not very good at bowling, but I understand that you're great.
I'll talk to you after class.
Okay. Terrific.
It's all clear.
Lunch alone? I don't believe it.
Oh, Pete! I want to talk to you about that committee report on dropouts.
We were going to lunch.
Fine, we'll talk while we eat.
Pete, listen, can I have lunch with you? Because that certain teacher I was telling you about, he asked me out to lunch again. And I just don't want to get involved, you know. Thanks.
Richie?
The king was putting a squeeze on the colonists, and he topped everything with intolerable acts.
Very good. Bernie, give me one of the intolerable acts.
Ringo singing without the rest of the Beatles.
Okay, that's your one laugh for the day. Now, come on. One of the intolerable acts.
That land thing.
Oh, come on, Bernie. You can do better than that. Ted.
Well, question about the Stamp Act, Mr. Dixon.
Okay.
Well, the Stamp Act said that nothing could be printed without a stamp from the government, right?
Right.
Well, it was to raise revenue, right?
Well, and to control what was printed in the colonies. The man who issued the stamps could refuse a stamp to anybody at any time.
So it was a form of overt censorship.
Well, yes, it was, but, Okay. Read the next 3 sections on the revolution. That's 9, 10, 11. Well, are you planning an insurrection of your own?
Got a minute, Mr. Dixon?
Sure.
I was going to ask if you thought it was right or wrong for the colonists to ignore the stamp tax law.
Well, all they could do was accept it or ignore it. They had no legal alternative.
Well, we don't have any legal alternative either.
Cool it, Helen.
You got a problem?
Go ahead, Teddy.
Yeah, baby, he won't turn us in.
You really are planning an insurrection, aren't you?
Well, I made the staff of the Blue and Gold. So did Helen.
Well, Mr. Dragan always approves my stories.
But Mr. Dragan won't approve anything that Ted writes.
Does he have a reason?
Well, he can't print what I write. The school board says that nothing can be printed in the school paper that's propaganda. If you have a point of view, then it's propaganda and the paper can't carry it.
Rule 1275.
Well, we try to get the school board to change it, but no student can speak at school board meetings without the approval of...
I know that rule, too.
What it comes down to is that we don't have freedom of the press. All our school papers could do is just tell us about dances or school teams.
Cooking hits.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. But we can't get into anything heavy, anything that matters.
We're going to start our own newspaper, Mr. D.
An underground newspaper?
Well, it's that or shut up.
I feel like a colonist, man. I mean, we should have some of them pilgrim hats, you know?
Well, a lot of kids want to say things and there's no place they can say them. Like petitioning and racial polarization. Well, you can't write about that in the Blue and Gold. Or about classes jammed to the doors or out-of-date textbooks.
Well, it doesn't sound like you came to me for advice. What did you come for?
We're going to make a newspaper without any censorship.
Okay.
We want to interview you for our first edition.
Why me?
Because you teach, you don't tell. Guys who hate school want to learn in your class. We want to find out why and print it. We wonder what makes you tick.
Where and when?
Well, we've got some details to iron out first, but we'll let you know, okay?
Okay. As long as I have your word that you'll quote me accurately and completely.
Oh, we will. We won't guarantee that we won't criticize what you say, though.
That's fair enough.
Mr. Kaufman! Oh, Pete. Join me for a serene moment in an otherwise cataclysmic day.
What happened?
Nothing, but it will. You're not, the bearer of some kind of bad news, are you?
Well, I'm going to be interviewed.
Oh, that's nice. Teacher's magazine?
No, newspaper.
Oh, I hope it's not the London Times my subscription just ran out. I see, it's not the Blue and Gold. I just saw the layout.
You're getting warmer. This paper hasn't even been published yet.
Oh, no. You're putting me on. We're not going to get one of those at Walt Whitman, are we?
Yes, we are.
One of those.
All the kids resent the restrictions of the school board rule.
Don't tell me about good old 1275 and the school board. Did you know something? Maybe you better think about it. Could be hot water for you. I mean, granting an interview to an underground newspaper. You weren't talking to me officially, were you? I mean, you're not going to tell me who's involved.
No.
Oh, that's good. Because if it was official, I'd have to say something significant. Go home and brood about what to do. This way, I can just enjoy the rest of the day and confront when the first copy comes out.
And then when you find a student that can write, you just fly. You get the feeling Alice likes teaching English?
I do get that feeling.
You know what I heard today? Some of the kids are starting an underground newspaper at school. Isn't that awful and terrific?
Awful and terrific.
Well, I mean, it's against the rules.
Which part is that? Awful or terrific?
Oh, awful. The terrific part is the kids really feel something, and they're going to do something about it. You know, I have a kind of vested interest in it, more or less. Do you know Ted Winkler?
I have him. He's a bright kid.
Well, I think he has a chance of becoming a literary genius.
Is that all?
Really? No, I'm serious. When he writes about a rainstorm, you get wet. Look, really, he resigned from the staff of the Blue and Gold because, well, Mr. Dragon couldn't print what he wrote because of some rule.
1275.
That's the one. You know, I'm glad they're starting their own paper because he'll have a place to write what he really cares about and feels.
An underground newspaper. I wonder how Mr. Kaufman's going to feel about that.
Oh, he'll understand. But then again, maybe he won't. This is delicious, Liz. I love dessert. That's really good.
Well, how do you feel about a problem-oriented course, Mr. Dixon?
Well, can you be a little more specific?
Sure. A course where real problems are covered, like demonstrations, drugs, sex, you know, all the things that schools are afraid to get into.
Well, I'd like to see those problems covered in an open discussion course.
How do you feel about kids having a voice in picking what the class talks about?
Well, that's the only way the class would mean anything.
What about the kids having a say in the curriculum? I mean, the school's supposed to be for us, you know.
They can do that now.
Oh, that's a joke. Can you see me going to Mr. Kaufman and telling him to stick in a course I want?
You know, the school board has a rule that a new class can be added if 20 or more students request it.
Oh, if there's a qualified teacher and if the subject's on the school board's list.
That's where they get you.
It's a long list. And I don't think that 20 students can come up with a class that isn't on it.
Well, then how come the kids don't use that rule to get classes they want to take?
Same reason they don't get interested in student elections.
Oh, I see. It's our fault, right? I mean, it's our fault the system's the way it is.
To some extent, yes, it is. Oh, you may be interested in changing things. This paper is proof of that. But the large majority of kids just don't care. And that's why making progress is so tough for the few who do care.
That's true, man. If you could pick a single social problem that affects students and teachers and society in general and turn all our national energies on it for attention and solution, what would it be, Mr. Dixon?
Oh, let's see. Ignorance, indifference, lack of compassion.
I only asked for one problem.
It's all one problem, Ted.
Morning again, all. Hi.
Oh, good morning. What'd you do, get a raise?
Nope. But I did manage to acquire one. Count 'em, one copy of the first edition of Whitman's own underground newspaper, hot off the press, and here it is.
Is it good?
I don't know. I haven't looked yet.
Well, let's see.
They called it Truth and Freedom.
That's a fair beginning.
You're on the front page, Pete. Quote, Pete Dixon tells it like it is, and it ain't good. You got 2 columns and there are only 3. It says here you were interviewed by the staff of the paper.
That's right.
You didn't tell me about that.
Am I the only one in there?
Oh, there's a column called Our Teachers Evaluated. Oh, wait till you hear this. Oh, quote, Mr. Gilbert Casey, boys' vice principal. Mr. Casey's open mind is evidenced by his rapid-fire decisions that all explanations are lies and his absolute conviction that the students are the enemy and that without his iron hand, Whitman High would collapse and anarchy would run rampant in the streets. Evaluation, A in prejudgment, A in oppression, A in overreaction, F in humanities, no times tardy and no times absent.
Boy, they really gave it to him, didn't they?
Zonk, Mr. Casey.
I bet Mr. Casey's ready to swallow his rubber hose. That's not all. There's more. Mr. Dragon's next. What does it say?
Mr. Kenneth Harmer Nelson Dragon has long been romantically attracted to one of the Bronte sisters, but it is not yet certain which one. He has been known to miss lunch because he couldn't decide between tea or milk, and that decisive approach to life spills over into the classroom where, more or less, though never that much more, he bedazzles his students with vacillation, equivocation, and hesitant but absolute lack of commitment. Evaluation, A in beating around the bush, A in fence sitting, A in being on all sides of an issue at the same time, not enough times tardy, not enough times absent. I know I shouldn't, but I love it.
I have a feeling Mr. Dragon's going to be very upset about that next week.
More or less, but not necessarily.
Look, there must be more.
No, the next one isn't very good at all.
Who is it?
Well, it's in very bad taste, and I think that whoever wrote it...
It's about me, isn't it, Liz? Is it about me, Liz? Well, read it. I mean, what could they say about me I don't already know? Is it funny?
It's terrible, and it's petty, and it doesn't deserve reading.
Please, Liz. Miss Alice Johnson thinks she's a student and also thinks she's a teacher. Single-handed, she has activated the word scatterbrain. She is the perfect example of those people who go into teaching because they can't stand the thought of leaving school. We are surprised she's working at a high school. Her attitude and self-image seem more suited to nursery school. This paper intends to request the school put in a seesaw and a sandbox for our bubbly little Miss Johnson. They didn't give me any evaluation. It is well written, don't you think?
Holding teachers up to ridicule? I don't mind myself. I've got the hide of a rhinoceros, but... Well, and look who's on the front page. Pete Dixon. He gave them an interview.
He's a very good teacher, Mr. Dixon is, if what one hears is true.
Well, sure he is. But I'll guarantee you he won't give us the names of those future Pulitzer Prize losers that wrote that junk and didn't have the guts to sign their name. But I'll find them, and out they go.
I wonder why they chose to remain anonymous, Gil. Yes.
Morning.
Morning.
Pete?
I assume you've seen this?
How can you condone that garbage, Pete?
Here we go again. Oh, you know what I mean.
Pete, just for the record, you did not know what was going to be in the rest of this paper when you gave out that interview, correct?
They didn't even have a name for the paper.
Did they quote you accurately?
100%.
Huh? That's something.
Who were the phonies that put that slop together, Pete?
Can't tell you, Gil.
After what they did to Dragan and to Alice Johnson?
Well, what about yourself, Mr. Casey?
Well, you can forget about me. I'm the local tyrant. Well?
Don't intend to tell you.
Well, actually, while I believe that loyalty is more or less a good thing, there might be circumstances which override one's initial responsibility in some cases, though I'm not at all sure that applies here.
You know I'm going to find out who wrote that poison pen hogwash sooner or later, Pete.
Not for me, you're not.
You know what you're coddling here? Revolutionaries is what you're coddling.
Oh, well, now, I can see where he might be protecting, but coddling doesn't even really apply, except in the most abstract sense.
It's not abstract, it's coddling.
Coddled or sunny side up, it's still the same egg. The point is the students wanted a free press and they've abused it. Now, what are we going to do about it?
Ted.
Hi.
Can we talk a little?
Oh, well, I'd like to, but I don't have the time right now, Mr. Dixon. Is that all?
I want to talk to you about the paper.
Oh, there's nothing to talk about. I mean, if you like it, read it, and if you don't like it, don't read it.
It goes deeper than that, Ted.
You've got that look of censorship in your eye, Mr. D.
Wrong look, Ted. Why don't you and the kids who are working on the paper meet me after school in room 222?
No. I mean, I won't do that. Well, you've got a lot of muscle, Mr. Dixon. You can turn us in, and Field Marshal Casey will toss us all out of school. But no amount of muscle is going to pressure us into allowing any censorship of our paper. Well, not even yours, and we dig you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Dixon, no meeting. I'll see you later, Mr. Dixon.
Hi. Oh, hi, Liz. You know, I saw the cutest pantsuit down at Rubens, and they're having a sale. I thought we could go down there after school and look around.
I know you're trying to cheer me up, Liz, and I'm grateful, but a pantsuit won't help, no matter how cute it is.
Are you going to walk around like a wilted daisy forever because some kid decided to take a shot at you? I mean, for all we know, I may be the next one on the list.
Oh, no, they don't do you. They do the Caseys and the Dragons and the Alice Johnsons. The terrible part is I know they're half right. I don't know which half. See you later.
You'll find that point considered throughout the Constitution. Anyone accused has the right to face his accuser. Think about it. Bernie, suppose someone would say something about you and then walk away.
They could say anything they wanted to about you, whether it was true or not.
Do you think that matters?
Well, I can think of things I wouldn't want anybody to say about me.
Suppose somebody would walk up to you, to your face, say the same things.
I'd punch them.
In other words, if somebody has something to say about you and they walk up to you and say it to your face, they have to pay a price for that privilege, right?
Right.
Hold it. I want to talk to Pam, Helen, Richie, Al, and Bernie.
I told you we wouldn't sit still for any meeting.
What's wrong with a meeting, Ted? Shut up, Bernie. Well, who died and made you king?
The rest of you can leave. Those of you who I asked to stay can either stay or leave.
What's bothering you, Ted? The man's got something to say.
That man can't do anything wrong as far as you're concerned, Richie.
God, he never put me down like you just tried to do, Ted.
Okay, hold it. I just want to talk to you.
Bring a little pressure to bear is what you mean, isn't it?
I don't want to put pressure on you. But I thought you would listen to what I had to say.
It's about that teacher evaluation column, isn't it?
Yes. I don't want to know who wrote it, but I do want to talk about it.
Well, isn't that what you were doing in class a minute ago? I mean, those references to hiding behind anonymity, to hit out with impunity?
You're really strung out, man. Why don't you listen? It doesn't cost anything.
What you want to say about the teacher evaluation column was that it was rough, right? Well, that's how it is. Some people got zapped. No argument. But that's what happens when you tell the truth without a lot of phony pats on the head. Casey does think the students are the enemy, Dragan does sit on the fence, and Miss Johnson does come on like she was one of the kids.
That's not what I want to criticize about the column. It's your paper. If you want the column in, then it should stay in. I don't like it. But that doesn't matter because you're not writing the paper for me.
Then what?
It was cheap ridicule. Easy. You can find a flaw in everybody. Everybody knows that Mr. Casey is hard-nosed.
Oh, Mr. Casey could always do his own thing, and nobody could ever tell him that they thought his attitude stinks. Well, we told him.
And what about Mr. Dragan? Are you out to expose his love for the Bronte sisters?
Oh, you tell me what the column said about Mr. Dragan isn't true.
He does beat around the bush. But he works as hard as any teacher in the school to prepare for his classes.
Oh, we don't have to give his history to make a comment on him.
And now Alice Johnson. You really told it like it is about Miss Johnson. She bubbles. That's heavy truth, man. Well, she's also a teacher who does everything she can to help kids make better lives for themselves.
What's your point, Mr. Dixon?
Oh, get off it, man.
Hey, what do you want from me, Bernie? Johnson comes on too strong.
Well, what do you think you're doing, baby? You call your number being cool?
Okay, you've got us at each other's throats. Is that all?
That's not what I want. I don't want to see what was a platform for dissent go down the drain because somebody took a cheap ego trip. I thought the reason that you kids wanted your own paper was because our school paper was one-sided and stilted.
Well, it is.
So was that column.
That was an ego trip, man.
Oh, can you do any better?
He couldn't do any worse.
Oh, you're a real comedian, Bernie.
I'll tell you the truth. Now, what our paper's gonna do is chop down people, man. It's a real drag. I'm not gonna risk getting thrown out of school.
Like, tell me, what is the point of this column anyhow? I mean, who got evaluated? Nobody. They got chopped. I mean, who couldn't you chop if that's all you want to do?
I think I resign.
You can't. I heard Pam say that she was going to quit the paper. Don't, Pam. Don't any of you quit. I know you wrote the column that I was mentioned in, Tip. I never could mistake your style, even when you don't split an infinitive. I didn't like the content much, But then I wouldn't, would I? Anyhow, it didn't kill me or anything. What I really think is that the teacher evaluation column should be reevaluated. It hurts people. But even if it stays the way it is, and other people get hurt, don't quit your paper. Look, you have something to say, and you should try to say it. Say important things.
Well, even if we give the pluses and the minuses, some of the teachers are going to come up short.
Nobody asked you to make heroes out of teachers. Just be fair. I realize that truth sometimes isn't pleasant, but it's fair.
Maybe it's a column the whole staff should write together.
Maybe.
Do we still have a paper?
Yeah, we do. Right on, brother.
Okay, staff meeting in Pam's garage in half an hour. And I still think this meeting was an infringement on our rights as a free press.
Well, what? Is something supposed to be happening?
The Truth and Freedom is out. Did you get a copy?
Uh-huh. How'd your classes go this morning?
Just fine. Where's the paper, Liz?
In my purse. Let's see. It's a lot neater than the first issue. No strikeovers in the typing.
Did they do a teacher evaluation column?
I think so.
Was it fair?
Well, it was divided into two parts, pluses and minuses. Some of it was fair and some of it wasn't so fair.
Anybody we know make it this week?
Mr. Kurtz and Mr. Cooper.
Only two?
I was the third.
Can we see the paper, Liz?
Did they say anything terrible about you?
They had some comments to make on the minus side, but nothing terrible. They did say that my door was never closed to a student.
Why don't you show us the paper, Liz?
Do you think I'm overweight?
That what they said about you?
Yeah, and you agree with them, don't you?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, you'd say that if I weighed a ton.
Morning, Pete. Morning, Alice. Morning, Chubby.